But I think really like for businesses and brands to connect more with their audience and really tell their story appropriately, they should really be showing the struggles behind what it is they're doing. What's up, guys? Rich here. Thanks for tuning in to the TwoSix10 Podcast, where me and the boys talk about how you can use content the right way to grow and scale your business. If you find this episode useful, then please share with a fellow entrepreneur, marketer, founder, or anyone else who might also get some value from it, and let's all grow together. With that said, let's jump straight into it.
What are the key elements of a good story?
I saw something on TikTok the other day, and these things go crazy all the time, but I don't know if you've seen it, Scott, but it was this brand that completely blew up. Their first post, I think they're called like candies or something, and basically they're making like dried candy. And they put on their first ever post on TikTok was them, hey, we're newlyweds, we got married last week. We always wanted to start a brand. We saved up all our savings for X amount of years. We bought this like air fryer thing, and now we're putting candy in. Like it was I don't know what it was. Like it was I don't know. But they were putting these candies in it, and then they were coming out like these crunchy candies. It's quite cool to see. But it went through. They documented their whole journey, knowing full well that they were going to put this out after they got married, which was the key thing. So the first post that they've ever put out on their TikTok got 16 million views. They were saying in their first post, like, and we've just made like 10 orders. We're so happy, blah, 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 blah. And then it exploded. It went viral. It went crazy. Everyone was like ordering. They couldn't, make enough of the product to actually fulfill. And I think that just shows you the importance of storytelling. But I think the key elements there for me is just like showing the struggles. I think people like really love the struggles. I've seen on TikTok as well. Sorry, I'm riffing now at this point, Scott, but there was another one that I saw went completely crazy. It was like a young girl, and she videoed her dad like at Walmart or something, and he should be retired years ago, right? And she was like, can we just like appreciate my dad? Like, he should have been retired 10 years ago. He can't afford to retire because he's still trying to provide for a family and all this. People just start donating money and like going crazy, and he was able to retire, right? And I guess like that's great because it shows the power of social media. It shows the power of like goodwill. I don't know. I think we're all very, the jury's definitely out on how humanity's gone and evolved over the years, and whether there are good people in the world, but this does show that there are. And I think brands, businesses, companies, startups, people, personal brands should really look to, utilize their story a lot more. But key elements of a good story is a difficult one, but I think what we're seeing right now especially is like, I think the flexing times of Instagram, YouTube, TikTok are kind of done. I think people associate themselves much more and have sympathy much more and relate much more to someone who's struggling, and they want to support the little guy. Whereas 10 years ago, maybe not 10 years, but 5 years ago, that wasn't the case.
Do you feel like it's just having that, I think we mentioned it before, about like that emotional connection with your audience, like as you were saying just there, where a new business starts a TikTok or Instagram and they have that kind of emotional story with the building of the business, and then straight away they've attracted loads of customers because they're invested in the story, like the background of it. I feel like that's definitely like a key element in storytelling as well. It's just the emotional connection.
100%. Think about all the sort of celebrities that we know of that have like went and endured. Like, so how many times do you hear The Rock's story about how he had like $1 left in his bank account, and now in 2020 he was like the highest earning actor of the year, right? Like, we all hear that. We hear that Coca-Cola went X amount of years with only selling one bottle of Coca-Cola. Disney, like, there's so many like hard stories,
loads of stories.
Exactly, and we always associate the struggles more so with the success. Like, we know Apple was great, we know like all of these brands, Amazon was great and stuff, but like for every single thing, we always can think about a struggle that was attached to that story. And I think it's really important, I think, for businesses, brands to really communicate. I think, like I say, 5-10 years ago on Instagram, everything was perfect. There was travel influencers, there was people just saying how great their life is and everything's perfect. And I think people still do that. and it works for some people. But I think really, like, for businesses and brands to connect more with their audience and really tell their story appropriately, they should really be showing the struggles behind what it is they're doing, because then people understand more as well. You know, they can relate more, they can understand when things go wrong. If you put in an order and it doesn't come for 3 weeks, you're pissed off. But if the business is actively showing on social media why that's happening, you understand. You're like, oh, thanks for keeping me in the loop, right? And you know, you can, as well as making more sales with that, you can also get a little bit of get a bit more breathing room as well, I think, which is important. So,
I think just relating to something you said there about like, if you don't get your item, you're going to be pissed off, right? So there's this guy that I come across. I don't follow him on TikTok, but he just comes up on my feed all the time now, and I think it's like a clothing brand. And basically, what he does is, he's like, I don't know if he's done this himself or someone might have put a comment on before, but you know, you can reply to comments in a video form, and then like the comment will be like here in the corner of his screen. So it'll be like, I'm not happy with my order, I want a refund. And basically he'll have that, and his video will start with him like on the camera. He's like, can you believe this comment? He's asking for a refund. And then like it just goes really calm, and he's like, of course you can have a refund. He's like, we're always here to help our customers. And everyone loves him because it makes that connection. And like, because you think that he's like about to rinse his customer for asking for a refund, and he's like, yeah, of course. Like it's just so like natural. And again, like it just builds that connection with like the audience or the customers. So that customer's like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'll definitely shop again. I'm not gonna like go away from him now. I thought it was a really good tactic.
It's really smart. Yeah, that's super smart, because not only are you doing it in a funny way, an engaging way to bring about more audience and more eyes to your business, you're also sort of like showing that person, like you say there, right? Instead of them being pissed off, all of a sudden they've been featured on a TikTok that is like, you know, so not only are you paying for whatever you wanted to buy, you're also, in addition to that, you're getting a bit of engagement on your own page as well. And for a lot of people, that could be quite useful. And then they could react then to that, and like it's just like a full follow on sort of cycle. So yeah, no, that's really smart. I think like you say, they're like tapping into their emotions. I remember when I was a kid, there was a little town beside me, and we used to always go there on a Sunday for ice cream. And it was the best ice cream that I've ever had in my life, and the best ice cream that I will ever have in my life, like hands down. I know for a fact. There's nothing that can beat that taste. But not only was it a really good product, like their branding was on point. Now, this was before the times of social media. And like as a kid, you know, like I knew their story because on the front of the door, Dino's, shout out Dino's. But like on the front of their door, it was like, you know, established in Italy, like, you know, whenever it was, like 1800s or something. And like family run business and stuff like that. So they were like straight away telling, and up in the wall when you walked in, there was like black and white pictures of, you know, the family creating the recipes and stuff through time.
Bit of the history.
And as a kid, you know, this like really took my emotion. Like, you know, I was like, Italy, wow, you know, I led a very sheltered childhood. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Mom. Like, you know, Italy to me, like as a kid, you know, the world's a big place when you're a kid, right? And to me, like that was like, wow, this just came all the way from Italy, and like their branding was all like the little cartons that it came in, like you can almost like feel the cardboard, like even now, and that just like it really does like have that sense of like everything was just to the point, you know. And I think with social media now, the new thing in social media, people can still connect their story with, like we see so many brands again going back to the trending thing, but they're so focused on just like exploding on social media. And they're never then referencing, here's our story, here's what we do, and telling and showing what they're all about, and sharing those struggles and sharing the sort of history with their brand, you know, which is really like connecting.
And
like, I wouldn't care.
Also find,
go on.
Sorry, just to interrupt on that point. You also find that you like a lot of these brands or like businesses, they'll have like presenters, like we know about presenters, things like that. And if they've not like given a kind of story to their new business, that presenter then gets associated with it, and they don't know anything about this presenter. They don't know if this person is the one running the business. They don't know the backstory to it. It's just this presenter that's been hired. So then obviously, I don't know, like bring in an audience because they know how to present, which there's nothing wrong with bringing in a presenter, but sometimes you need to, if you're a new company, you want to build yourself up. You want to establish a connection with the audience. And then obviously then you have like the presenters come in to do the more bring in the business side of things.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think like one thing, like a lot of maybe businesses, small brands, personal, like just starting social media, they might be thinking, well, what story should I sort of tell? What story should I share?
Yeah.
What would your answer be to that?
I think like this is where we could like send people in a different direction, because obviously what we're saying is like, oh, there's got to be like some kind of sad story, or there's got to be like an emotional journey. Like it doesn't even have to be that sometimes. Like there's this guy that I also follow on TikTok, and I followed him like years ago. I really wanted to start my own like clothing business. I know that you went into a similar route of that. Yeah, put a little bit of advertising here. There we go. But yeah, no, so I wanted to do that, and this guy, I followed him, and from the start, all it was just him saying, I'm tired of working for someone. I want to just do my own business. And then what he done is he was like, for every person that buys a piece of clothing, they're gonna get a free pack of Haribos with them. And then what he'll do is, as soon as he gets to like, someone will comment and be like, I'm putting my order in now. Like I said earlier, use the comment, and it'll just be him like packaging it up and then just signing saying, thank you for helping me grow my business. And then he would put that into the bag, and then like a little bag of Haribos. And that, like, he didn't have a sad story. He didn't have an emotional story. He just said, I want to create this business. But he added a little unique like style to it, which was, this is what I want to do. For every sale I make, you're getting a free bag of Haribos. It's got a bit of a comedy side to it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if like worldwide Haribos are that big, but they're massive sweets, right? So like, it's just a little connection. You get a free bag of Haribos. Like, there was no emotional story there. It was just the fact that people loved the idea that he's going for it. He's starting his own business, and he's got a character to him. So I'm gonna buy from him.
Yeah, for sure. Again, really, really smart. And like, to touch on the celebrity stories again, and the big brand stories, we've all heard Gymshark, right? Ben Francis. And the thing why that worked so well is because, so his story, in case you don't know, Scott, and to anyone that's listened doesn't know, Ben Francis, CEO, founder of Gymshark, basically started up a clothing company, Gymshark, when he was at uni in Birmingham. And he was basically, like, he had like a pizza delivery service, like that he was at uni studying whatever he was studying, I don't even know, it's irrelevant. But he had a pizza delivery service that was funding his gym wear, like, you know, to make the gym clothes. So he was like running around his little moped or whatever the case was, delivering all these pizzas. Then he was coming home after, so he was starting uni, say 7, right, in the morning, 8 o'clock, getting up for uni, and then he was finishing that, going and delivering pizzas, and then he was coming home at 10 o'clock at night, making clothes all evening, and then you know, sending them out, because his view was that there was no like good quality that was also cheap clothes for gyms. Now Gymshark has since evolved, and it's not as cheap as it probably once was, but the point here is why this story works so well is because who's going to like really connect with that story? Young people, students, people who are at college, like people who are going through a grind, is like trying to like invest some money, like get some money together to maybe like do their side hustle, to do whatever it is, and who's also going to be buying his product? Young people who necessarily might not be able to like afford the Nikes and the Under Armours and all of, I don't know if Under Armour was around at that time, but like these bigger brands that were more expensive at that time. So he was like not only selling his story to those people, but he was also selling the products to those people. So it just like connected. Now it's like one of the biggest businesses of all time. So I think they are, like, to reference your point, like what story should they focus on? I think try to align the story with who your target audience is going to connect with. So what story can you tell that is going to connect with your audience that you want to create, that is going to then buy from you? I think that's the biggest question. And also test. I go on about this so much, but test. Like, people give up too quick. Like, tell a story, tell it again. If it doesn't work, then tell a different story, tell it again. And if that doesn't work, then keep doing that until you find something that does work, and then try and ingrain that into your branding, into everything that you do going forward. Now, I'm not saying every single bit of content you make tell your story, but, you know, remind people of that. Every time you get an upsurge in your likes and your views, go and tell your story again. When you get new followers, go and tell them your story. When you package your products, tell your story. When you're inviting people to your website, tell your story. Like the first thing people see on your landing page on your website is your story being told. And not enough brands do that for me. And to finish with a point here on this, Seth Godin, like the GOAT of marketing, he once said, marketing is no longer about the stuff you make, but the story you tell. And like that is so like poignant. Like now, it used to be, we're making this solves this problem, but now it's like marketing's evolved. There's so much marketing, there's so many startups. Like it used to cost so much money to get a brand, right? Like you used to have to go to the bank and get a loan, do all these things. You have to pay for like billboard, TV advertising, radio advertising. Now you can essentially advertise for free on TikTok. It just takes time. I say free, it depends what you value more, money or time, but ultimately with very little sort of like financial input or even time input, to be fair, you can advertise your company. And yeah, again, like it's very, very competitive. I'm not denying that, but
I'd
story
say
is
that
definitely the most.
We are currently living in the generation of I want to word this right, it's easier to set up a business now because we have the tools that they probably didn't have maybe 20 years ago. Social media is one of those main tools.
Yeah, for sure. And, not to get into the whole AI debate, again, we've got episodes, 2 episodes, 3 episodes maybe out beforehand about AI, but like, jump on ChatGPT, tell me a business idea. Like, I wouldn't recommend anyone starting a business about something they don't know. I think you should at least acquire some skills and knowledge about said topic before you jump into it. But at the same time, like, there's no excuse not like to be able to create stories and content around your business once you do start. Like you said there, like we're living a time where it's essentially free. You rewind 50 years and again, billboard, TV, radio, advertising, it's going to cost you money. You can jump on TikTok now, tell your story. Like those Candies guys I referenced at the start, free, and they've got 200,000 followers already. They started posting 4 days ago. Like, it's so easy. It's not so easy, but you get the point, right? And they'll just continue to tell that story over and over again. Everyone knows, that's the great thing about that, what they've done already. They've already told their story, so everyone now ordering from them knows the story behind it, which is obviously really important.
It's just, I think it's one of the big things that we always emphasize when we're like making content and editing videos, is just the storytelling is the key. Like you can edit a video really cool, but if you've not got like a story to it, sometimes it just doesn't make sense and it's just a bit shit.
Yeah, no, 100%. We've seen it so much. With competitors as well, not to dig anyone out, but we've seen like even companies like that we've spoke to before they started coming to us, whatever, like the content looks cool, it looks great, like there's a tons of elements popping up and stuff, and I feel like that's where people get a bit lost. They focus on that side of things, and actually the video doesn't make sense. Like it's looked really cool, it's grabbed my attention a little bit, but what did I just watch? Like, I've not got anything from it. And I think that's, again, not to say tell your story every video, but you should at least be given some sort of value there or something, along the lines of what you're trying to achieve.
I feel like just touching on that one more thing, it's just that obviously when I joined TwoSix10, I feel like you was my kind of guru in editing. You've heard it here. Rich taught me everything kind of. But there was one thing that's always like really worked well with me, is the best way to edit like short form as well, is like the story stages of things. Obviously you got like your like point, you have the the problem, and then kind of like the conclusion, which has helped me massively with like editing videos, because I think if you remember back in when we started together, I sent you a video and you was just a bit like what's the story here? And then you said that, and since then it's just stuck with me, like storytelling is important. And I've like ingrained that with everything that I do now with editing and helping create content.
100%. I'm a bit disappointed though, because like you forgot the key is setup, conflict resolution. Come on.
I remember the structure of it. The words you said
Hey,
were
it
a
doesn't
bit
matter.
foggy.
As long as it's worked, it doesn't matter. The words are irrelevant. But yeah, like something else we see a lot is like people focusing so much on the idea, and the idea is ultimately, in a way, irrelevant. It's the sort of how you initiate, like how you take action on that, and yeah, the story and the sort of the way you structure things is really going to help. And I think with short form content, for anyone listening now, hook, start with the hook, 5 seconds, like bang, get the hook out, done, move on. Like just, even if it's like you say that again in the video, just get the hook out there, because you've got to buy eyes. Like effectively you're trying to draw attention to what you're trying to say in that video. Without the hook, without you getting across your point very early, very quickly, no one's going to be interested. Like they're going to move on. Like time is the most important aspect to social media, short form content in particular. It's so valuable. I would even recommend trying to get your hook down to 3 seconds if possible. Like boom, get them hooked, buy their attention, get their eyes. You've pretty much then, if you've got a good hook, you're guaranteeing their eyes for another 10, 15 seconds. You've got to get into the bones of it straight away. And what I would say there is just make the most interesting, exciting, to the point thing that you can possibly come up with, and that's your body, and it's all referencing the hook, but at the same time, like you're giving away, that's when you give value, but it's got to be snappy, it's got to be quick and to the point. And then from there, resolution at the end, 10 seconds, little summary, done. And I think, again, that's where most people sort of get a little bit wayward with the content. You know, they lose sight of what the important part of it is. They try to maybe linger too much on the body, they forgot about the hook, the resolution takes too long to come around, and yeah, I think that's the most important part anyway for me. But again, it all comes down to story.